Hello everyone, Happy New Year, you made it. In today's video, instead of looking at the new year, we'll be looking back at the last one to go over all of the changes and updates we were blessed with for 2025. For those who haven't played the game in a year or are looking to see the kind of content this game gets before diving in. I'll also be rating every update out of 5 because everyone loves opinions like that. It was a great year for the game in my opinion, full of some juicy content updates. The first of which was the Year of the Depthworm update. Okay, this one wasn't too juicy thanks to the next update being worked on at the same time. This update introduced yet another yearly Zodiac event about hunting depthworms on the surface to collect their lamp lures and coins to spend on these really cool lantern posts. One of the best ways to decorate your base. This event is no longer activated by default, but you can enable it at any time on any world by configuring it in the world settings before launching it if you really want these really cool lampposts. A decent event, but pretty sparse when compared to the other Year of events. Good lampposts though. I rated it 3.5 red lanterns out of 5. In February, we got the massive Wendy, Wartox and Walter Insight Tree update. This update was in development for a very long time, entering into beta and aiming to come out in late 2024 but was delayed by several months for reasons. And for good reason, since this update really shines with the extra time that it took. This patch introduced full character refreshes in the form of skill trees for Wendy, Wartox and Walter. Wendy got perks around relocating and creating graves, turning them into ghost summoning flower farms, as well as perks that buffed Abigail with stronger abilities and commands, and even the ability to shed her ghost form for a stronger Gestalt form, just to name a few. Wartox got a whole scale of perks that would either fall into naughty alignments, with perks focusing on dealing damage with soul projectiles, explosive decoys and custom knapsacks, or nice perks with a focus on healing, teleporting and supporting your allies, giving Wartox brand new styles of play. And last but certainly not least was the Walter Insight Tree. He got perks giving him incredibly useful ammo types, buffed Boy Scout abilities with campfire, healing and biscuit making, and of course, perks for Woby to turn her into the fastest mounts in the game, who can also chop trees, forage and even teleport. If you thought Walter was weak in the past, because he kinda was, then absolutely give him another go if you ain't played him in a few years. A brand new favourite of mine. 5 Angry Wendy mains out of 5 for this update. Some of the best insight trees we've ever gotten. March didn't have any updates for us, but April did. We got a cute little April Fool's update that added some silly hat skins. I think you can weave them nowadays, but one patch that wasn't a joke was the Jimbo update. Yes. The game now has a somewhat fully functional Balatro minigame you can play in any of your worlds. Simply find the Jimbo set piece anywhere in the world and get to playing. Pick your jokers, build your hands and earn lots of bananas. Or gold. Or most likely spiders. You can also earn some playing cards to mess around with and a new record disc to listen to. A fun diversion for any days with downtime or even a great way to get resources in a pinch, especially early game. I promise you this isn't a joke, this update is actually very bloody good. 4 Gross Michaels out of 5. I think that's how you pronounce it. Can't wait until we get more crossovers. Once again, we skip a month into June, where we got our first big world update. This was the Hostile Takeover update, a fundamentally huge update that exists to cap off the lunar questline created by Wagstaff. This update added a whole new chain of jobs you could do after you defeated the mutant bosses, which was kicking Pearl off her own island and turning it into a big dumb boss arena against the newest final boss, Warbot. A huge stompy robot with heat-seeking missiles, spinny drones and slamming attacks. A real test of your skill. As well as the boss that it turns into once you defeat it, the Celestial Scion. Good luck with dealing with this guy and his chaotic set of attacks to make the fight more insufferable as time goes on. You'll earn yourself an upgraded Celestial Crown and some useful little robots if you manage to take it down, however. But this patch was more than an epic conclusion. We also got the Wandering Merchant. This familiar looking guy can randomly show up in certain places in your world, offering you trades for certain items for the cost of other items. Nothing too earth-shatteringly crazy, but it could help you find gears if someone ate them all. It's nice to see them finally adding travelling merchants after them being in the original game's files for so many years. Last changes for this update included big changes to how drowning works, with the removal of max HP loss, unless you're WX, and a reduction in items loss relative to how close to the coast you are when drowned, and the introduction of the personal floater which would save you from drowning. But we'll go over that more in the next update since it got some pretty big changes in that update. As for this update though, I'm not the biggest fan of late game focus changes since I'm bad at the game, but I appreciate the work and effort that went into these new bosses. Plus, Wagstaff gets taken, so that earns this update 4 tormented Wagstaffs out of 5. Come July, it was time for the Carnival update. This update didn't actually add anything new to the Carnival, just enabling it automatically if you didn't do so yourself. But it did buff that personal floater from the last update pretty substantially, by allowing the player to swim along the surface of the water in order to save themselves in the event that they fell in. Before this update, it would just function as a life vest and save some of your health and item loss. However, in a later update that I forgot the date of, it did gain the ability to allow you to swim around yourself instead of just floating in one spot. Very, very slowly. It's enough to save yourself though. Definitely make one of these if you're going on a risky boat trip. Cute little update, but nothing substantial. 3 drowning worts out of 5. However, later in July, as in the very last day of the month, we got a follow-up update to the Hostile Takeover update. Despite the name of the update making you think it was going to be focused entirely on Wagstaff's Warbot Hostile Takeover questline, most of the changes were for the base game, with massive changes to electrical damage to allow it to chain between enemies and stun them, to a buff for drying racks to allow them to hold 3 times as many items as before. On top of that, we also got the shiny Tingle node which let you make full systems of electric fences, nearly fully impenetrable walls that could keep out almost anything. You get the blueprint from this item by rummaging in that big scrap pile protected by the scrappy werepig after you defeated the nightmare werepig. Super duper useful. Just like how this update also changed how moonglass tools worked, allowing them to be prototyped and crafted anywhere after making them at lunar altars, instead of them only being able to be crafted at a lunar altar, on top of some extra glass cutter buffs increasing the damage that it deals to nightmare creatures and cheapening its cost massively. Do not forget about these changes, since glass tools are now absolutely something you should be making. There were also some changes to how lunar hail works, to make it slowly accumulate on structures instead of piling up on the ground and lagging out your world. Massive fan of pretty much everything added in this update, from changes to early game items and entire systems to rebalancing old and not as useful items. 5 Tingle nodes out of 5. September ushered in yet another sizable update with the Ancient Echoes update. This conking big update added a whole new biome for you to explore, the Fumarole biome. A steamy hot place with geysers and weird rooted boulder bough trees that can be used to grow all sorts of materials depending on where you grow them. Excellent for those who want to farm specific materials as well as just lots and lots of rocks. But the biome that houses them takes on a way more wicked form if the shadow rifts have been enabled, with miasma clouds everywhere and the introduction of a new mini-boss, Ripple. A big dreadstone centipede that will honestly avoid fighting you as it goes around eating miasma, but it can be flipped over and killed if you drop a boulder bough on them and attack them, which will give you a metric ton of dreadstone and pure horror. But one biome wasn't all that we got with this update, since we also got the Ancient Sanctum. Located via a whirlpool on the surface, this place is home to all sorts of new lore and puzzles focusing on the ancients that populated these very same ruins. Ultimately, there's no real reason to come to this place yet, unless you care about the lore with the new masks, the stage play, and some extra decor items, since as of right now, this place doesn't have its proper conclusion. But expect that in an update this year. Probably, I don't know, I don't work for Clay. As a lore nerd and someone who has been craving new cave content for a very long time, I got to give this update 4.5 Wilson masks out of 5. It will get the remaining half when the update is actually finished. September was also the release of the Don't Starve board game Kickstarter. The entire world of Don't Starve is going cardboard. This Kickstarter was one of the biggest board game campaigns literally ever. It looks really nice, and whilst the campaign itself is formally ended, you can still pledge to help unlock Warley as a character in the game. Hey Live Ash here. Literally right before I finished this video, we broke 5 million and have unlocked Warley in the board game. Life is good. Expect a video on this when it finally delivers, like 2 years from now. I honestly cannot wait. But back to the actual real game now when we move into October for the Ancient Echoes Part 2 update, just like how Hostile Takeover got a Part 2 update. This one wasn't too crazy since all it added was a new puzzle to the aforementioned Sanctum and also a new mob to the fumarole biome, the geothermite, which is an interesting little creature that attacks by heating up the area around it or pumping out miasma. It can also drop pure horror during Shadow Rifts. But the most notable thing that happened in October was the introduction of the Expectimus ARG, an alternative reality game played in your web browser to uncover heavy lore about the game's universe. I only covered this ARG when it launched initially, but it has still been ongoing for the last few months, and has turned into this massive long-term project. If you want to know more about this ARG and our current progress on it, check out my Discord linked in the description. We got a whole channel dedicated to cracking each phase as soon as they come out. I'll do a video on it when it's actually concluded, but honestly that might be a few months from now, so don't get too excited. The update itself, however, is a solid 3 geothermites out of 5. Pleasant, but nothing too special. The ARG, on the other hand, I rate 200 buckets of sap out of please don't make me do the terminal puzzle ever again. Later that same month, we got the seasonal Hallowed Nights update, which, like always, re-enabled the Halloween event. But this time around, also added some new content in the form of a customizable pumpkin head. How spooky. But if Halloween ain't your thing, then you can enjoy the new lunar buzzards. I use the term enjoy very loosely. These guys are a brand new mob that spawn post rifts during lunar hail, and will cause all sorts of headaches with their ice fire breath and the ability to resurrect any applicable mob into its lunar variation. Have fun with this. 10 resurrected spiders out of 5. But now we come to the last update of 2025, the Pearl Winter Feast update. It doesn't get an official name, so we're just going to call it that. This update, as you can expect, brought in the festive season again, with the good old Winter's Feast event being enabled, and some new set pieces that spawn whenever the event is active. But the main focus of this update was for Pearl. A lot of people were rightfully upset at the whole kicking her off her own island thing that you have to do during the Hostile Takeover patch. So this update sets you on a new quest to decorate her brand new home, and get a bunch of new fun toys in the process. From salty themed equipment that buffed existing items, to new structures like a mega drying rack, thermal baths to soak in, and even a tea shop with a completely new type of consumable, tea, which grants all sorts of long-term buffs and can be used multiple times. A really sweet update, and an amazing one to cap off yet another amazing year of Don't Starve Together. If you want a more in-depth look at these updates than I did in this video, then check out the channel page. I've done plenty of update overviews for each specific update if you crave more details. As for the final rating for the final update of the game, I give it 4 purple pearls out of 5. A lovely update for both the seasonal content it brings and finally fleshing out Pearl's abrupt eviction some more, with new systems and toys. I just kinda wish it wasn't at the very end of the game, however. And that was 2025 in a nutshell. Quite a few sizable updates. Most of them at the back end of the game progression wise, but some interesting changes and tweaks throughout the entire game. I'm very excited to see the kind of year we get for 2026, and hope to see all of these loose ends tied up from the Ancient Sanctum. But after that, can we maybe get some early to mid game changes and insight trees for characters that have been dying to get them for years at this point? Please, Clay. Now well. Next update is going to be the Year of the Horse, calling it now, Year of the Knight, so we still got a ways of waiting until we see the next bit of main juicy content. Hopefully this year is not only good for the game, but for you guys at home as well. Thank you all so much for watching. Doing a year recap like this was fun. Maybe I should go back and recap all of the prior years. I've been here since the very first one, so I have a lot to say about all of them. But for now, I gotta go fill out my 2026 bingo card. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care everyone. Bye bye.